is AQA Psychology, and we're looking at the topic of gender, cognitive developmental theory of gender from Kohlberg, and this video is going to look at evaluating Kohlberg's theory. So, first of all, do we have any research that supports it? And yes, we do. Slaby and Frey conducted a really nice piece of research where they took small children and asked them a series of questions to do with gender, things like are you a boy or girl? When you grow up, will you be a mummy or a daddy? So looking at it, do they understand it's stable over time? And then also, if you wore a dress, would you be a girl? Those sorts of things to check whether they have gender constancy as well. So first of all, they assessed whereabouts the child was on that scale. Had they achieved gender constancy or not at that point? They then showed them a video, a bit like this picture here, where they had a split screen and a male and a female model doing the same activity, basically simple activities on both sides of the screen. And what they wanted to see was those children with greater gender constancy, are they going to spend more time watching the same-sex model? As Kohlberg predicted in his theory, he said once they reach gender constancy, that's when they become interested in gender-appropriate behaviour and so on. So if Kohlberg's theory is correct, we should find that those with greater gender constancy spend more time looking at the side of the screen with the same-sex model. Let's see what they found. So, when children are over 2 years, they can identify their gender. That fits with Kohlberg's theory. That's showing that stage 1 of gender identity, gender labelling. They can say whether they're a girl or a boy. So that supports it. Second finding, by three or 4 years old, they can correctly answer, will you be a mummy or a daddy? So again, they're finding that Kohlberg's stages of gender development fit with their findings. That's showing gender stability, but those children can't answer correctly the questions relating to gender constancy. And then, relating to this film, they found that the children with the greatest gender constancy showed the most interest in same-sex models in a film. So, that's a really nice piece of evidence that supports Kohlberg's theory on a number of different fronts. It's not perfect, however, so we need to just remind ourselves that what they found is a correlation between the level of constancy and the interest in the same-sex models. So as you know, correlation doesn't mean causation. It doesn't prove that gender constancy causes that interest. It might be that the fact that they've become interested in same-sex models means they've then developed a greater sense of gender constancy. So it could be the other way round. So it doesn't prove that it's the way it's happened in exactly the way that Kohlberg says, but it does broadly support it. Okay, further research supporting the theory. This is a really nice one, which we'll probably refer back to later in the course as well, by Monroe and others. They tested the theory in lots of different cultures. So they went to Kenya, Nepal, Belize and Samoa, lots of different countries, on different continents. And what they wanted to basically see was, does this theory still work in other cultures? Because actually, if our development of gender identity is more related to social factors, then you would expect to see lots of variation between cultures, because cultural and social factors are different in every culture. So you would expect, if it's mainly down to those sorts of factors, that there would be quite a wide variation. So they're taking this theory and testing it. And what they found was actually the sequence of development in all these different cultures was really similar to what Kohlberg said. So that's actually quite a strong piece of evidence to suggest that this is actually a universal theory of gender development, which is great because it's more common that our theories find things that are linked to our culture. It's quite rare to find things out in psychology that really are universal, and this has been tested in Africa, in Southeast Asia, in Australasia, in South America, and they're finding across all those different cultures that you get the same result. So that suggests actually that it's not mainly social factors affecting gender development, that actually it's more to do with cognitive factors. Remember, we're talking in this theory about how our brain matures and how that links with our interaction with the environment, and actually how our brain matures is broadly the same across cultures. So it suggests the fact that we've got really similar development across all these cultures suggests that actually it is cognitive factors linked to our brain development rather than social factors which would show greater variation. Okay, flaws to the theory. So we've had two really nice supporting pieces of evidence there. When we look at gender stereotyped behaviour, it actually, you can see gender stereotype behaviour happening much younger than Kohlberg says, and that's probably the main flaw to this theory, really, is that we do get children younger than age 7 exploring gender behaviours, exploring showing stereotyped behaviour, like boys showing preference for cars and trucks, girls showing preferences for dolls and princesses, and so on. And really, according to Kohlberg's theory, that shouldn't happen before they've reached gender constancy. And that's supported again by research. Bussey and Bandura found children as young as 4 both playing with gender appropriate toys and saying that playing with a gender appropriate toy made them feel good and playing with a non-gender appropriate toy made them feel bad. So they're both reporting that and showing the behaviour. So that's really the major flaw to this theory, the fact that it can't explain why children younger than 6 or 7 will show gender appropriate behaviours. And it suggests that other factors might be involved. And another of those factors that might be involved, as we've discussed, is social factors. The importance of rewards, the importance of how your parents bring you up. So Faggart and Leinbach found that those with parents who reinforce gender appropriate behaviour learn their gender labels the earliest. So actually it does matter how you're brought up and how behaviours are reinforced and so on. It's not simply as a result of your brain maturing and what you choose to do, that actually those social factors, modelling and those sorts of things are important. So this is a theory that doesn't take that into account at all, really. So that's important, another important flaw to this theory.